Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. We have two races for you today. The first one is a Hungary random lobby. The second one is also a random lobby, but it has a couple of the regulars in it, and it'll be just a couple teaching points there from Austria. So to start here, we have Slicks in the Rain. You can already smell the carbon fiber in the air when that happens, especially in an open lobby with upwards of 15 drivers. So off the start, we get a pretty good run, and you can see they're already bunching up. There's a lot of commotion going on. A little brake check there from the Toro Rosso, not too bad. We find our way around the first corner. Nice little line through there, kind of left open by the guys on the outside. And as soon as you check back to see what's going on, you get a massive pileup in front of you. Myself and my Williams teammate just managing to avoid that sliding Force India, tiptoeing around the outside. That was a little bit hair-raising, and to be honest, a little more sketchy than you want that first corner and entrance into the second corner to be. So up through turn 4 now, heading into the long turn 5, trying to put some pressure on our teammate here. You can see the Ferrari's a little bit of a wild card here. He cuts this chicane up here pretty decently, and yeah, that's probably going to be a penalty for you. You can see he's really not sure how to take a lot of the corners here. I'm not sure how he ended up so far up the grid. I don't know, like, is he struggling in the conditions or what, but this lobby was kind of weird for that. You had some really good drivers, and then you had some absolutely crazy drivers. He takes this corner way wide, and the other Williams tries to put the hurt on him here. Can't really make the move, but then he goes full Dora the Explorer out to the outside of that turn, finding new and exciting ways around the track, and loses the place to both of us. And you always worry in situations like this that they're going to just take you out, so I take a wide line through that corner there, trying to limit the opportunity for him to take me out. So turning up the ERS fuel expenditure here, trying to close that gap to our teammate, and we have another wildcard McLaren up here. He ends up being sort of the disaster of the day later on in the race. He's quite the driver. So down around turn 2 and trying to get a good run up here. And here you'll see the deadly side of this turn 5. The concrete curb on the inside there is absolutely unforgiving, and you can see he just clips it with the wheel and it rotates the entire car around. It'll do that 10 times out of 10. You could put a millimeter of tire on there and it'll still spin you off. So now that our teammate's been dispatched, we turn our attention towards this wildcard McLaren. We're not going to follow him for too long. A lot of the drama happens towards the end of the race with this gentleman. So we're going to try to close up on him as much as we can. He's kind of sketchy around the corners. You can see he's way offline, braking a little bit too much. Really, I think there he's actually trying to find that same line as Dora the Explorer from before. Maybe Dora's rubbered it in enough for him that he can venture out there and maybe find some traction. You see, we try to put it up the inside, but he's gonna weave and cut us off, and that's not the first time. Here we just collect a couple clips of the next lap of him doing some wild and crazy things. A little too close there. I think he was braking too much for the corner. I don't think he was trying to brake check. Then he slams the door on us there, and this is where we start to see a little bit of contention between the two of us. So I've got the DRS out of here, cranked up the engine to max. He's using the weave. It's not very effective. So I'm going to get a good run, but he's going to try to close the door here, hits us twice for good measure, and I give him a little friendly tap on the way by, just to let him know that I'm there, and leave a little of my Williams paint on his McLaren there. So we're going to try to get away from him as quickly as possible and put enough space between us that he becomes a little bit less of a danger. There we skip ahead to the final lap. We've got a good amount of space between us and the McLaren, but frankly, he scares the living hell out of me. Based on what he was doing before, I'm just thinking, I know that this guy is going to try something stupid. And then he does a full Obi-Wan and goes, "Hello there." And he's right out in front of us. I'm like, that's got to be a 10-second penalty. Here I thought he was going to take me out, but I guess he was trying to let me by on the illegal overtake. And I'm thinking, please bury yourself into that lapped car. Okay, but he manages to avoid him. And here you can see I'm looking back. I know he's going to do something stupid before the end of this race, and there it is. So The whole way down that straight, I'm looking backwards, and I know that this guy's coming. I know he's going to try to do something dumb, and there it is. But at this point, I know he's probably got a good few seconds in penalties, so I'm going to let him go. And then we get a nice tap there from the Toro Rosso, good measure. I'm guessing he got a penalty for that too, because though we're on track and fourth, we're actually going to finish second here. That McLaren and the Toro Rosso both had penalties and weren't able to put enough distance between us on that last lap. So there you can see up on the grid in second place. So better finish than we thought we could do. So we're going to move on to Austria now. This race has Con and Prada, two of the guys that I normally race with, and we're going to do the setup first. I'll walk you through my low downforce setup. So this is Austria, Canada, Monza. So I'll go 1-4, 2-4, or 1-5 wings, 310, 160, 1141, and then 7-5, 7-5, 5-5. You can see I'll crank up the brake pressure to 90, move the bias forward to 56, and then set that ballast to 7. And I'll walk you through the lap here. We actually get a good pole lap here. So braking a little late, don't go wide on that corner. You will get the disqualification for that. Try to go from the far outside, make this as straight as possible, and be on the very, very outside for the braking zone here. Go in slow, put the power down slow, because that is a very slippery corner. If you put the power down, you'll find you don't get a good run, at least if you drop the hammer right away. So again, all the way to the outside. This turn, we don't take as well as we can. You actually want to clip the inside and the outside curb. Go right from inside to outside on that is the proper way to do it. These two corners you can carry a lot of speed around. As you can see, I've got the corners only line on. I'm going to try to get rid of that as the tracks get more familiar to me, and I feel more comfortable in those braking zones. But for those two corners there, I keep the line pretty much yellow the whole time. These two final corners, they're also very easy to get a disqualification on. The track falls away from you a bit, so you want to take it easy on the first one and care more about the second one. That second one you can actually carry a lot more speed through if you brake more for that second to last corner. So you can see we got the pole there, a nice little 106. We've got Con and Prada a little bit further back. And we're going to do a little bit of a lesson on conservation and use of DRS and fuel. This race wasn't very exciting. It was a pole to win, and by the end I think I was 16 seconds ahead of second. So there's not a lot of excitement in this race. But I do want to draw attention to effective use of ERS and fuel. It's something that a lot of players online don't pay attention to, and they don't realize how much of an impact that can have on your overall speed. When your DRS is completely used, your engine is producing a lot less power. It's basically like having your ERS off for the whole final 3 laps if you run out by keeping it on full overtake or hot lap. So you can see through these slower corners, I'm turning the engine down. When you're in lower revs, you're not going to be using any ERS anyways. So you don't really need to have it on through those slower corners. But you do want to crank it up on the straights. What I'll do for shorter tracks is I'll go between standard in the corners and overtake on the straights. On longer tracks, especially like Singapore, if you have some really windy sections, I'll go all the way down to low. And that way you harvest as much as you can in those heavy braking zones. And then when you get to the straight, like just after the Anderson Bridge or that kind of back straight on Singapore, you can really crank that ERS up and really get a good run on the guys in front of you. So here again, you can see all the way up and then turn it back down. Every straight, really, I'm utilizing as much of the rich and overtake as I can without wasting it. There's some people, they'll accidentally switch to rich, run the whole race, and run out of fuel. I've seen it happen multiple times, even in the lobby that I race in with a lot of really good players. Some they switch it to rich and they forget. So I'm always keeping that menu open. It's very rare I'll cycle through the menus and check damage, tires, things like that. It's only really if I'm having a major issue. Most of the time I'll have that little menu open all the time, so I can switch between overtake ERS and rich mix fuel turning it on, using it as much as I can, like I said, without running it out. So here we'll jump ahead just to the final lap, and you can see even now I have a little bit of ERS left, and I'm finishing with a good amount of fuel. So it's a good lesson there on, something else to watch while you're racing. If you're just driving around the track, focusing on the corners, focusing on the cars around you, you're not going to be as quick as you can. If you're focusing on everything, the ERS, the fuel usage, the cars around you, how to enter, how to apex, how to exit every corner, you're going to be a lot quicker. So that's it for today. We're going to leave it there. Thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.